Your pen can be mightier than lies. Your signature on a tax-deductible check or a bank transfer will help us reform UNRWA and stop their education for genocide. I have been working on this subject for 32 years. I never imagined that we would discover that UNRWA, a United Nations agency for education, would start showing school books and a curriculum involved in genocide. I'm going to show you one of those school books at the end of today's discussion. We have a project to translate all of the school books into all possible languages of the donor nations. If we can go on to the next slide here. Thank you. Understand one thing. Many nations in the world are critical of Israel. No nation made a decision to kill the Jews. I make that very clear. No nation, regardless of how critical they are, and the rumor is that Sweden is somewhat critical of Israel. There was no, you see, I say things in a moderate fashion. I'm a short fellow, and I try to say it in the short possible way. Clear. There was no decision of the Swedish government to issue school books or a curriculum to kill Jews. Didn't happen. Our job, and I'm a social worker by profession, our job is to bring the facts to the attention of the parliaments. And as of tomorrow, we're opening up a branch here in Sweden. And I want all of you to be involved with it, all of you. A small group can change the world. My name is David, and a Goliath can be killed with one pebble or two pebbles, so long as they're properly aimed. We are aiming to go to 21 parliaments coming from Stockholm. We say, Ki miYerushalayim tetzei Torah, Ki mi-Stockholm tetzei emet. From Stockholm, the truth will come out. The concept is that for exactly 70 years, UNRWA has been going on. Every 5 years, UNRWA comes up for renewal. 5 years, every 5 years. The renewal is coming up in September. Let's make conditions for that renewal. You have in front of you the page that Sarah Lundstrom handed out, very clear page on conditions. If every single person in this room were to write a personal letter to each of the officials of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Parliament here, and to the Foreign Ministry, and to the ambassador, and to the newspapers, to the media, we understand UNRWA is coming up for renewal. We want to make conditions. Who created the concept of UNRWA? Who created the concept of right of return? Anyone know? He was a Swedish national. His name was Bernadotte. Bernadotte did not continue his activities because he had a bullet in the lower part of his brain, which didn't allow him to continue. September 17th, 1948, he was killed. His legacy lives on. Bernadotte created the concept of right of return to balance the law of return. He felt that would be fair. This was not an Arab concept, it was a Swedish concept. And it caught on around the world as a justified issue. People today do not know that, but now you know. The expression is, let my people know. You need to know this and to carry on. 70 years, it's now, at that time, it was 500,000 Arab refugees in refugee camps. How many today? 5 million. They're there under the premise of the right of return by force of arms. Okay? The concept is that every child lives in a school, goes to a school where he sees the pictures of the homes that they left in 48, and he thinks they're still there. And the children begin the day with a chant, I'm taking back the home where they killed my grandfather and murdered my grandmother. 5.2 million Arab refugees believing that. And the 321,000 children living from the refugee schools who live in Judea, Samaria, Jerusalem, Gaza, are inculcated, indoctrinated with the idea that they should kill the people who live there. There's never been a school system like that, ever. I asked my friend Robert Wistrich, who passed away a few years ago, a scholar of Nazi Germany, what were the Nazi school books like? He said nothing like that. There was never a Nazi school book or even a Nazi teacher who taught the idea of killing Jews. Of course, they did, but it wasn't part of the school system. It wasn't. They tried to hide it. These people are proud of it. This morning, and yesterday morning, and Friday morning, riots at the Gaza border. Children from the UNRWA schools rioting because they wanted to cross the fence and take their homes back by force, with hand grenades, with guns, with every kind of small weapon in their hands. Had it not been for UNRWA, they would not have the steam in which to do it. We have produced 24 films. I'm going to give them to Maria on a USB so you can conduct an ongoing seminar to see these films. Today we'll just show one of them, right? If we found one school book or one school or one teacher promoting peace and reconciliation, we would put it out tomorrow morning. We would be heroes. Now you can all be heroes. Why? How can you become heroes? Because the concept of removing refugee camps, refugee conditions from 5 million people, let's take this as a hero status, something everyone will respect. People respect Israel and supporters from Israel when we do the right things, right? Right? When we do the right things. When we rescue the Jews from Ethiopia. When we rescue the hostages from Entebbe. When we did great things, we're respected. Therefore, the concept of taking people out of refugee conditions, we can say, let their people go. Remove them from the bondage of the United Nations. Now I'm going to take you to a little bit of a secret, which is not known. Our agency met with the highest levels of the United Nations 3 times with the help of the Simon Wiesenthal Center. We met with the staff of UN Secretary General Guterres, who said to us, we don't know about the school books because we don't see them. They heard about them. So now we're putting up one website so they can see the school books. They put it up, take it down. Put it up, take it down. So now they'll see it. And our job is to get the UN as an ally. And every nation, there are 67 nations all told giving money to UNRWA with no strings attached. Our job is to make every one of you, every nation, into an ally. Sweden, by giving $64 million, that doesn't mean you're an enemy. It means you think that you're giving for a humanitarian purpose. Our job is to let you know what's happening with the money. And from what I understand, in Western Europe, there's more concern about thievery, about transparency than about anything else. So that when public funds disappear, that's where we can get people as allies. You may not like Israel. You may think that we shouldn't even be on the earth. But on this issue, we have allies. Let's make everyone into an ally. I'll show you one of our 24 films, then we'll keep talking. I'm also going to show you, in the back there we have our booklet, which is right over here. Okay, just show that booklet, please. This booklet here, yeah. This booklet here, that is this booklet here, which is the booklet of the latest school books. Now we're doing the new school teachers' manuals. And one of them, in one of those booklets, I'm going to show you at the end of the presentation, the new book praising Dalal al-Mughrabi, who murdered 38 people. And in the new teacher's manuals, she's mentioned 8 different times. There was never a decision of the Swedish government or any other government to praise the legacy of Dalal al-Mughrabi. There wasn't a decision. So our job is to get you to ask them that. It's so clear. No nation in the world supports a school system which would advocate the murder of Jews. Perhaps some of the Arab nations would like that. Perhaps that's a reason why Saudi Arabia and Qatar have come in as funders. Perhaps. But no Western nation believes that. So let's show one film and we'll discuss a little bit further. Okay? Okay, please.
In the heart of Jerusalem, 3 minutes from the Hebrew University campus and adjacent to the new Jerusalem light rail train, sits the Shuafat refugee camp. Shuafat is one of 59 Palestinian Arab refugee camps run by the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, or UNRWA. UNRWA was spawned in the wake of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War exclusively for Arab refugees. Shuafat is unique. It is the only Arab refugee camp in Jerusalem and the only Arab refugee facility under formal Israeli control. Like other UNRWA camps in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, Palestinians refuse to move. Instead, they remain in camps and maintain their dream to return to Arab villages that existed before 1948.
نحن الآن نقول رسالتنا واضحة جدا، سنبقى في المخيم حق العودة لن نتنازل عنها. طبعا احنا اليوم بنعيش في ظروف صعبة جدا وأصعب ظروف بنعيشها في مخيم شعفاط من جميع النواحي. الناحية الأساسية هي يعني إعلان وتصريح نير بركات بأنه ضم مخيم شعفاط وأن القدس أنه مسؤول عن مخيم شعفاط وأن لا وكالة للغوث ولا حق للاجئين.
UNRWA is a political organization. Their goal is to maintain refugee status for Palestinians instead of helping them get on with their lives. I decided to create a plan to kick UNRWA totally out of the city of Jerusalem.
ونحن لا نعترف في هذا المخيم بأي سيادة مطلقة إلا لعلم هيئة الأمم المتحدة لوكالة الغوث الدولية.
Over the decades, Palestinian leaders have encouraged the residents to remain and pass down the legacy of the right of return from one generation to the next. Their children are taught that they will destroy Israel and replace it with a Palestinian state.
أنا مش مبسوط بالمخيم لأنه هون يعني هاي إحنا هون قاعدين مؤقتا يعني مش راح نضل طول حياتنا هون. أنا أصلا من بيت ثول بدي أرجع لبيت ثول.
إحنا كنا لاجئين هون وقلنا أراضينا قلنا بيوتنا وما حد بنسى إنه ولدنا في المخيم وراح نرجع على أراضينا مهما كلف الأمر.
As in other UNRWA camps, hatred for Israel serves to unify everyone, especially young children, who are taught by UNRWA teachers to go to war against the Zionist usurpers.
لأنه نعمل حرب إنه نفرجي اليهود إنه إحنا مش إنه إحنا مش شاطرين إحنا قوايا كمان. في ناس بحبوا فلسطين بدهم يحاربوا وبضحوا بدمهم عشان فلسطين. أنا بدي أهزمهم بالحرب. بدي أهزمهم.
On the paths of Shuafat, terror groups such as Hamas, Fatah, Islamic Jihad, and the Popular Front operate openly and enjoy wild popularity among the residents.
جماهير شعبنا الصامد المرابط أبناءنا وإخواننا وأهلنا في مخيم شعفاط مخيم البطولة والفداء مخيم الصمود في زمن قل فيه الرجال وقلت فيه النخوة نحييكم بتحية الإسلام العظيم وتحية كتائب الشهيد عز الدين القسام. رسائلنا إليكم وباختصار شديد، فأنا عن فنون الكلام أسكت فمي وتركت للرشاش أن يتكلمي.
Today, 30,000 people live in the teeming alleyways of Shuafat, where they can opt for full citizenship from Israel and receive free health insurance and education. At the same time, they receive benefits from UNRWA, including housing, health, and education for anyone defined as an Arab refugee. Competition to rule Shuafat exists between UNRWA, the Palestinian Authority, Hamas, and Israel. Although UNRWA technically runs the camp, Shuafat has become a wild west of terror, drugs, crime, prostitution, and extortion, with little in the way of sanitation to be found. Streets are filled with garbage and rodents. There is no official electric grid. Electricity is pilfered from exposed power lines.
بالنسبة هو أكبر مشكلة أو معضلة بنواجهها بالمخيم إنه هو مش تابع لتحت أي سلطة، لا احتلال وإسرائيلي ولا سلطة فلسطينية، ففي فلتان أمني.
مين بيحميك بالمخيم؟
الشباب العارة لما يدخلوا الجيش بنقعد نطبش وهذا. فيش يعني بشكل رئيس، فيش عندنا جيش، فيش عندنا سلطة، السلطة دائما مضلة في عناد، فيش حدا عندنا هون.
السلطة لو اجت على المخيم ما راح تسوي إشي يعني على الفاضي، يعني لأنه كلهم راسهم ناشف تقريبا. والله المخيم يعني بالزمانات ما كان هيك، يعني تغير، دخلوا الفساد فيه، يعني دمروه.
من القضايا اللي ممكن نحكي فيها عن مدرسة بكور شوافاط الأولى إنه إحنا بنعمل في بيئة اجتماعية صعبة.
مخيم بكور شوافاط. هاي الزباين. باب مدرسة. قبل سنتين ولد خش مستشفى غرفة الإنعاش إنه شرب مي من الحنفيات هذول، وباب قلب البرميل فوق بسه إلها يمكن 6-7 أيام ميتة، والدود بقلب المي بقلب الخزانات عندنا هون. هاي مش مدرسة، هاي سجن. طلع الشبك كيف؟ طلع الشبك اللي مشوه كيف؟ هذا سجن. وانا هلا بحكي لك ان هذا سجن، هذا مش مدرسه. تكسر درج، بقول لك الاستاذ فش درج، اقعد على الارض. ليش تقعد على الارض؟ احنا جايين نتعلم هون.
بطل كويس دار المخيم، وشوف هلا الزباله، وشوف الناس، وشوف القهاوي اللي انفتحت والاراجيل، والناس صاروا يهملوا، وعندك الحشيش وعندك المخدرات. هيك احنا عايشين مذللين.
في شباب بجيلي واصغر مني فبيحكوا لك يا عم احنا هون مش قادرين نعيش ولا هون ولا برا. ليش؟ زهقوا الدنيا.
احنا في المخيم في عنا حرامية، في شباب بيجوا في الليل بقعدوا يطخطخوا، بيجوا بضربوا مولوتوفات في الشارع، بقعدوا يطخطخوا، بيجوا بيسرقوا الدور. يعني اليوم يعني الواحد لازم ياخذ حذره، خاصة من مخيم شوافاط.
نحن في منطقة لا يوجد فيها أي قانون، منطقة كلها فوضى، منطقة كلها عبث، فبالتالي واقعنا كان صعب جدا. نحن اليوم نتكلم عن 80% نسبة البناء الغير قانوني في مخيم شوافاط والمناطق المجاورة، فبالتالي لا رقيب ولا حسيب، لا نعرف ماذا يضع في، يعني للأسف الشديد لا نعرف ما هي نسبة الخطورة في هذه المباني، لا نعرف ماذا وضع بهذه البيوت، لا نعرف إن كان هناك فعلا بنية تحتية جاهزة، لا أحد يعرف.
لكن البنى هذا العشوائي يعني أي هزة أرضية محتمل يضوع كل العمارات هذه.
مخيم شوافاط هي بيئة خصبة لتجارة المخدرات، لتجارة السلاح، للجرائم بأنواعها، للعنف، العنف السكاني، العنف اللفظي، العنف الجسدي. الأولاد بيسمعوا الطخ يوم
من الحشاشين، من الحرامية، من كل شيء منخطفين الأولاد. فهذا هون مجتمعنا كتير فاشل.
والحشيش داير زي كأنه بيبيعوا بندورة فيه.
بتواجهنا مشاكل كثيرة في المخيم، منها الضغط السكاني الرهيب، هذه واحد. 2 تجارة المخدرات، اللي أصبحت موجودة بكثرة. اليوم نسمع مستر نايس ومسطولون وحشيش وهيروين وإلى آخره. كل هالأمور هاي بنسمعها وشباب صغيرة بتتداولها، شباب صغيرة بتستعملها.
إنه هناك قولي إنه أو يمكن أول مرة طفل يشوفه يخاف، بس بعدين تعودنا زي كأنه تعويد. دارنا في الحمام برا أو هذا الأرضي كان يطلع منه.
هاي بالنسبة لي زبالة، كل الجيران بتلم، كل العالم بتزت هون، كل الجيران اللي فوق بزتوا زبالة، ولا واحد مهتم، لا إسرائيل ولا أي دولة ولا أي بلدية معنية إنها تبني زبالة هون. تعال هون بعد كمان ساعة إنه تعتم تلاقي هون حفلة عرس، حفلة فيران هون أكثر من الشعب، أكثر من الشعب هون حفلة، بتشوف هون مليان.
أنا مش مبسوط، يعني مثلا بطلع من الدار بطلع كله خبص الشوارع، مجاري مأزم المحسوم وهيك، يعني إذا كني عايش بخيمة
يعني هون في المخيم لا في ملاعب نلعب، والطرق يعني مش منيحة، وزبالة يعني في كل مكان محطوطة، والجدار وكثافة سكانية كبيرة.
UNRWA now raises millions from 40 nations to care for Palestinians, yet few of those dollars reach the people of Shuafat. 2 UNRWA schools exist, and a UN-run medical facility is on the scene, but very little else. Has the time come to end UNRWA's presence in Shuafat and to end the quagmire of Arab refugees in Jerusalem? With such a change, residents of Shuafat could move on and live with dignity. Or will Shuafat implode and ignite Jerusalem and maybe the entire Middle East?
First of all, I want to give their USB with all of our 24 films to Maria, with the encouragement to conduct more presentations. And as I've done 3 times before in Sweden, I'm available to have my staff speak with you by Skype, if you don't want to see us in person necessarily, and answer questions. Now, since I promised you, this is a brand new school book. Now, after we met with the staff of Guterres, the United Nations General Assembly, the Secretary General, we got a promise that this kind of indoctrination would stop. However, this book was published, it's an innocuous school book for children in the 5th grade. And here we have a picture of Dalal al-Mughrabi, who landed her raft with 6 terrorists just north of Caesarea in March 1978. On the spot, she murdered a photographer, Gail Rubin, and then commandeered a bus and murdered 38 people on the bus. And in the exchange of fire with Israeli police, she was killed. Now she's presented in a new school book as a role model for Palestinian children, a role model, someone who you should grow up to be like. This is mentioned in the booklet that I just gave you. And now in the new school books coming out in September, the manuals for teachers, she's mentioned it no less than 8 new school books. This is not known by anyone, because it's very, very uncomfortable for people to report, and we're here to make you feel uncomfortable. The concept is to show the world what they are teaching. The left doesn't want to see it, the right doesn't want to see it. But we have to get this out, because the issue of education not being on the agenda of negotiations is the issue we're addressing right now. Again, you wouldn't believe it, so that's why we got the copies of the school books themselves to give to the parliaments. So our agenda is very clear. A 6-point agenda, which you have in front of you, what needs to be done to eliminate the education system, currently the new education system which has been imposed, to stop military training in the schools, to do complete and total transparency of all money coming through. What you just saw is an example of a UNRWA refugee camp where no one knows where the money is going. $1.2 billion that disappears. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to entertain your questions. Please. I would like to say that the comment, I'll just repeat it from the audience, it's a lot of money. This is true. This is true. Now, the fact that most nations have increased their money is part of the story. On June 25th, 2018, spokesman for UNRWA said, we have no money. We ran out of money. So we asked our staff to call all the donor nations. Did any of you stop the money? And 46 donor nations said, we have increased the money. Sweden, Germany, Great Britain, all increased the money. We asked what kind of transparency you have, and they said 20 nations gave us the same answer. We rely on the rigorous supervision of UNRWA. I don't know how rigorous translates into any language. All I know is that we don't see it, and the Arabs there don't see it. We have many, many allies in the Palestinian Arab population that suffers under UNRWA. Most of them can't open their mouths for fear of a gun to their heads. Very important. And when we come to the parliaments, we come with 1 or 2 Palestinian Arabs who know what's going on. Incidentally, our crew that worked this morning in Gaza and also outside of Jerusalem in an UNRWA camp near Jerusalem, it's a completely Palestinian Arab crew, professional. Okay? Any other comments you may have or questions?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead. Amnon.
The mayor of Jerusalem.
The former mayor of Jerusalem, yes.
Was the former leader. That he's going to take over Shuafat.
The former mayor of Jerusalem said in that film that he would like Israel to take the municipality to take over Shuafat and take it away from UNRWA. That hasn't happened yet.
Why not?
It depends on the donor nations. The donor nations, such as Sweden, will determine what policies are enacted by UNRWA.
Shuafat is in Israel.
Shuafat is the one UNRWA refugee camp inside the Jerusalem border and inside the Israel border.
Why do we need to ask Sweden?
The reason why we need to ask Sweden and the other 66 donor nations is because this is under the United Nations General Assembly authority. And yes, and unless that authority, if that authority is abrogated, only with the agreement of the donor nations. That should be very clear. Israel does not control it, and by the way, the United Nations doesn't control it. Only the donor nations. Okay, so Sweden, if you ask the Swedish government what's going on here, they have to know, and they have responsibility. And if they don't answer, ask again, and again, and again.